Being here this evening, and I am applying for the job of being your representative of Congress. I say applying for the job because I understand your frustration that the people you have in Congress now won't listen because they have forgotten the proper relationship between the employer and the employee. You being the employer and the person you vote for being the employee. I will not forget that relationship. I left a bio on your table. I've got some in the back. Please read them and don't ask me to take 5 precious minutes I have and devote that to where I grew up and what I did and where I went to Sunday school. Bottom line is I spent 30 years in the Army and 10 years since then. Half of that time in the Army was working on strategic issues, half operational but half on strategic issues. There will be people, and since then I have been working Homeland Security. I just retired from the Bush, I just left the Bush School in order to run here. I directed the Homeland Security program at the Bush School at Texas A&M. Homeland Security is not about guns, gates, and guards. It is not about new rules. I became interested in it after my experience at national level, national security, because I was afraid we would give up too many rights, too many liberties, spend too much money, and end up poorer and less safe at the end. If we are not careful, as we were discussing here, bureaucracy will get out of control, and this will be one more issue. But the other reason I'm interested in the Homeland Security is because it touches every aspect of your life. Just as national security, which I taught at the National War College, where I retired as dean, just as that dealt with all areas of economics, all areas of finance, all areas of diplomacy, all areas of intelligence, all areas of information, in addition to military. Homeland Security deals with water. It deals with energy. It deals with electricity, transportation, air, sea, land, food, fuel, every aspect of your life. It's not just protecting it from terrorists, it's making sure that it remains economically viable while we do that. That expertise which you bought, which you paid for, as I progressed through the Army, from that perspective, here's the suggestions I made 6 years ago when I ran here. I haven't had to change my literature. What I told you then is that jobs are important, education is important, national security is important, Homeland security and border security is important. But the most important problem you face is the debt, because it is the only problem that could crash this nation in a way that we could not recover. We cannot build jobs and taxes fast enough to keep up with the exploding social programs, the exploding debt, and right now, by the way, that interest is almost zero. When interest rates began to climb on $14 trillion, it was going to push everybody else out of the market. We must get a handle on the debt. To do that, we have to get a handle on Obama and his administration and the way the liberals and the Democrats think. The way to get to that is through Chet Edwards, who has talked as a conservative, has voted as a liberal, and has endorsed this administration. You know they wanted him as a vice presidential candidate at one time. We must move him aside, get a real conservative with real values and real courage to stand up in his place. When I say real courage, I'm not talking about only facing down the Democrats. And you must be able to face down Sheila Jackson Lee. It does not take a quiet, demure personality to do that. You have to be able to face them down. You also have to be able to face down your own party. You have to be willing to look your own party in the face and tell them when they're acting like Democrats and when they need to get back on the track of supporting and defending the Constitution of the United States. Yeah. That's what I have done. I raised my hand to do that for 30 years, day and night. That's what I've done previously. That's what I will do for you. Let me sign off with this last point. Lots of us will talk about our expertise. You have one national expert here. A national expert who has been recognized by the CIA several times in the last 10 years, by the Defense Intelligence Agency, working with the intelligence folks from the Department of Energy, working with the people in Texas here that work in the bunker that protect Texas. A national level expert, one of them who's been on television 500 times in the last 10 years on these issues. And with that expertise, I will not be dependent on lobbyists when I arrive in D.C. I will not be dependent on my party. I will not be dependent on my staff. I can stand on my own 2 feet. I can bring you the expertise I developed at your expense over 30 years. I can put myself in your service as I did previously for 30 years in the Army. I hope that you will read my bio, you will be convinced by my loyalty to my family, my concern about my children, my concern about my grandchildren, consequently my concern about you. I hope you will be convinced to fire Chet, hire Dave. Let's make this nation work again. Thank you.